play it all or nothing. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind all the muscle, pull up. Parker right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Nothing holding me back. 3 in the wood, rushing.
Welcome to Takeover, the most underrated sports debate show on YouTube, giving you that bi-weekly, tri-weekly. We gonna drop some week. You know what I'm saying? That's what all I can give. We gonna drop some week. You know what I'm saying? Content. And we're gonna hop right into it. Luka Doncic. The guy that the Hawks drafted and notoriously traded away. The guy who averages 32, 8, and 8 right now. The Mavericks are out of the play-in right now. Is he the problem in Dallas?
I cannot say that Luka is the primary problem in Dallas. I think it's I think it's multiple problems with this team in general. One of the most obvious answers would be their defense. Last season, the Mavs were top 3 defensively, and now they fluctuate between 23rd and 24th. We expected the defense to take a dip a little bit, especially because they gave up Dorian Finney-Smith, one of their best wing/perimeter defenders. And then you get Christian Wood, who really is a more offensive type of big rather than a protector. And he's only really playing 15 to 20 minutes per game, really, or here and there. And then in an effort to ramp up the offense, you basically abandoned something that was a part of your identity last year. And when you look at the offense isn't terrible. The numbers say that Kyrie and Luka, when they're on the court together, they're basically unstoppable from half court. And as a team, the Mavs outshoot their opponents from the field, the three-point line, and the free throw line. So it makes you ask, like, where did it all go wrong? What's the struggling coming from? And to me, I think they don't really have a lot of options besides a catch-and-shoot 3 type of offense. I think they can all benefit from having a rim protector. And I think they need a solid 5, honestly. When I say a solid 5, I do not mean a big man that's going to sit out on the perimeter and shoot threes. I mean a big man that can set screens, that can be a lob threat, that can get offensive rebounds. In their last 13 games, in 11 of them, they were out-rebounded. So they don't really have a lot of options besides the catch-and-shoot 3 type of offense. And I think a rim protector would give them another option, give them more variety in the offense rather than the threes, because what happens when the threes aren't falling? That's really how they're losing most of these games. When it comes to the last possession of the game or when it comes to the last quarter of the game, they're taking all these threes, but they're not falling, and then the other team can take advantage of that, especially when they're not getting offensive boards. So not only are they getting killed on the glass, but on top of that, they're not getting stops. That is a terrible recipe no matter how many points you're putting up.
Oh, everybody there. Everybody get closer to the screen right now. Why are we letting him off the hook? When every other superstar has a team that's struggling, is he the problem? Is it because of him? Is it his play style? When the Houston Rockets were starting to struggle in the playoffs, it's James Harden. It's got to be James Harden. When the Atlanta Hawks took a step back last season, it's Trae Young. It's just the play style, and nobody wants to play with him. It's the defense. The defense sucks. When LeBron James has a bad year, LeBron's washed. It's his problem. People don't like him. So why is it that when Luka's teams take a step back, it's just the front office. They haven't given him the right pieces. He's had at least 2 high-quality running mates. He's got Kyrie Irving right now, and apparently he can't make that work because they keep losing games with him. And they gave him Kristaps Porzingis, who, if we're being honest, yes, he had some injury problems, but when he played, he was playing below his career expectations because everywhere else KP has played, he's looked like a borderline top 50 player. In Dallas, we were saying that he was washed. We were saying that he was too injury prone. He was never going to be the same. But the moment he leaves, suddenly, he's a borderline all-star. Anybody sense a pattern here? Jalen Brunson. Hey, he's a solid tertiary guy, but he's not worth $104 million. The Knicks are doing better than them right now. Maybe Luka is the problem. All I'm saying is every other superstar gets caught up for being the problem a lot quicker than Luka has. But because Luka does the pretty little flick shots and he says a few nice little trash talking moves, we're gonna let him off the hook. Let's not do that. Luka is in the NBA. You live by the superstar, you die by the superstar. When you win, it's because of the superstar. So when you lose, it's because of the superstar.
So I'm gonna push back on one of the points because I do think you're going a little too hard on Luka in the situation. I think he is 50% of the problem. The way you're talking, it's all on Luka the way you're talking. But I mean, if we want to talk about resume and what Luka has done, I mean, this was the same dude averaging 30 in the playoffs against Kawhi Leonard, Pat Bev, and Paul George while all guarding him in the first round. This is the same dude who took Dallas Mavericks team last year with Jalen Brunson, who did help last season, but he took them all the way to the Western Conference Finals, beat Chris Paul and Devin Booker in a game. We didn't even think that series was going to go 7. Matter of fact, Dallas winning. That's crazy. And literally Game 7 took over the entire game. It was just straight Luka. But I think when people say we haven't seen anything like Luka before, I mean, we have. And it's 2017 James Harden. You know, it's ISO ball. It's stack it up. He averages 32, 8, and 8 right now. Those are pretty good. That's a pretty good stat line. But his usage rate is 37.6, which is second to only Giannis. So, I mean, he's on the court all the time. He doesn't play any type of defense. And he's extremely ISO ball dominant. And when you pair him with Kyrie, of course they're going to be able to score. It's almost the same situation as the Brooklyn Nets. They can score anybody, they just can't stop anyone. And when they're losing these games, it's not by big margins. They're kind of small margins. They may lose it at the last second. They may lose by 3, 2, or 5. So I think it's a bit of the play style. And I think what you did, one of the things I did agree was, how are we going to judge him? Can he play with another superstar or play with another star is a question we're going to have to continually ask Luka over and over again until we see if he does. So far, it's been unsuccessful. But when it comes to guys like Porzingis, I mean, I feel like half the problem was Porzingis was taking shots, but he was just missing them. I mean, like, we were like, when is it going to happen for Porzingis? When is it going to happen? And it kind of just never happened. And you're talking about Brunson. We saw how good Jalen Brunson was last year with Luka. So I think the problem is 50% Luka in his play style. The other 50% has to go to Mark Cuban. Literally, now they were already shorthanded before, I think depth-wise. Now they're extremely shorthanded. When you let go of Dorian Finney-Smith and who else did they trade? Spencer Dinwiddie. I mean, now who's there to play defense? Like, literally, they don't have a primary defender on that team at all. And Luka doesn't play defense, right? So it's just like, you're put him in a situation where he has to score. He's the primary scorer. But it's just like, what more could you ask for him? I mean, not everyone could be a great two-way player. So I think part of it is on Luka for sure because of his play style. But the other part is, I mean, dang, he ain't got no defenders. He ain't got no dogs with him. So I think that has to factor in as well.
But it never does with anybody else.
Okay.
We don't talk about all that. But Trae Young is putting up 26 and 9, and for the last 2 years, there's been talks of John Collins getting traded, Nate McMillan getting called out every night on social media, Tony Resnick putting his son in charge of basketball operations, all this other ownership stuff, and yet it's Trae Young. It's Trae Young's problem. Trae Young's the one at fault. LeBron James. Every time LeBron James stumbles, it's LeBron James' fault. He's the superstar. He's got to take the brunt. It's all him.
Can I interject for a second?
I wouldn't say that.
You know the reason why everyone's so hard on Trae? It's them darn Hawks fans. And it's y'all fault. It's y'all fault that he's the most hated. And let me tell you why. When you went on that run, y'all lost y'all goddamn mind. Y'all was like, oh my God, we're the team. Hold on. Let me finish. Because I'm going to let you talk after this. Y'all lost y'all goddamn mind. Y'all said, he's the best point guard. We ready? Man, I don't care what happened. We beat everybody. It doesn't matter that Joel Embiid tore his meniscus. We beat everybody. We ready now. And the next season, what happened? He went to the playoffs in a play-in situation. He got there, right? And then faced a real dog in Jimmy Butler and got locked up. No one has ever done that to Luka Doncic. Ever. So I'm saying, like, when we put these pressure on, it's sometimes, so I take Trae out of the situation because the city put it on Trae. The city did it to him. I can't agree with that take on Trae. Go ahead.
Giannis couldn't break through. It was Giannis' fault. You know, Giannis is the reason it's the play style. It's because he can't shoot.
Right.
So every time Joel Embiid, we still talk about it because he hasn't got past the second round.
Okay.
At what point are we going to say the same thing about Luka? Because right now, Luka's career is basically a year behind Trae Young's.
Okay.
Right? You struggle on a bad team. They start to build it up around you. Mm-hmm. You go on a conference finals run, and then you come back, and you're significantly worse. And now ownership, they've just kind of jumped ahead because they've done the desperate push all the chips in move to go get you a guy that maybe doesn't fit super well in the roster. Now you're giving up some things. So all I'm saying is, how come with everybody else, it's them?
Okay.
Right? We're not going to take into consideration LeBron James doesn't make playoffs. Oh, it's because he's washed. No, it's because the front office was incompetent. But no, it's because it's Wash.
LeBron James is the front office, though.
How come every superstar is their fault? And now Luka, we're giving him every excuse in the book. It's the front office, it's the place. Again, like I said, Kristaps has been better before and after he left Dallas.
Okay.
Jalen Brunson's been better since he left Dallas. Christian Wood was better before he came to Dallas. And now he came to start. Now he's playing 15 minutes, which is crazy, because he's a 21-10 guy. At what point is it him? Spencer Dinwiddie wasn't the same player when he came to Dallas.
Well, of course, no one's going to be the exact same because how great of a player is. I mean, if you want Luka to take less shots, I mean, they don't get as far as they get.
No.
So that's what I'm saying.
Because as someone who has watched Trae Young,
okay,
ever since Quinn Snyder came into the head coaching job, he has convinced Trae, take a step back. You don't always have to be the guy.
Right.
Let other people be that. And the Atlanta Hawks are third in offense since that happened. Right? And before that, they were like 15th. So taking a step back, sometimes less is more with a superstar. And we saw that with James Harden. When James Harden took a step back, when he got to Philadelphia, the team looked better. Right? They just ran into a brick wall. And we're seeing that in Atlanta. We've seen that with some of LeBron James. Just when you start focusing on getting other people into a rhythm, it works. Luka, like you said, all ISO.
all right.
At what point is that? He's not accommodating. He's not adapting to his team.
Well, I mean, first of all, I did give him 50% of the blame, so it's not like no one's playing. No, not 100%. Not 100%. Not 100%.
Because the front office tried everything.
He doesn't.
They've given him a
Because it's the same reason you don't give Nikola Jokic 100% of the blame. When he's dang near a 3-time MVP and can't get out the second round. I mean, and when he did, you counted the bubble year, as you say, which you completely disrespect. So let's discount that Western Conference Finals run. And only to the second round? That's it? And he should get the same flag, but he doesn't. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it takes time to win.
Because Luka is one of them. He's a top 5 player. He's the greatest thing since Larry Bird.
I think it's also you should also take into consideration the fact that also it may be a possibility that they need more time to gel too. That may be a possibility.
But see, here's the issue.
Okay.
We don't know because Kyrie just totally forgot.
He could leave. We don't know what Kyrie's going to do. We don't know what he's going to do.
So at that point, then there's a little bit on management. But still, why would he leave? Why would he leave?
What if he never wanted to be there?
I mean,
we don't.
He's known for leaving in any situation, though.
I'm just saying. Superstar, they get crucified.
Kyrie will tell you
put on
wants
a
to
totem pole,
stay.
and they get told that they are overrated, horrible, terrible. They need to be traded right now. You haven't had that yet. Why?
Because I think there's been single performances that have caused that reaction. With Giannis, what teams were doing to Giannis, a player who was, at that time, I would say at least one-dimensional because he wasn't that good of a passer and really only had like one move to the paint. That's why they were like, oh, he's stoppable. Because we saw it twice. So it happened 2 times in a row. There hasn't been anyone to really stop Luka. I know it's a team sport, but I'm just saying there's certain performances where it's like, oh, this may not work. He may not be that good. I've never questioned that.
So what if it's actually a strategy? This is called the Jordan rules, right?
Yeah.
Let him get his. We know Luka's going to get his. So let him get his. Make sure nobody else. He can't get anybody else.
But you're saying that to a person that averages 8 assists right now.
Because he always has the ball in his hands. It's one of those things where, like, if you're creating, if you always have the ball, eventually by accident, you're going to get assists.
So he's not a great passer? So he's not a good passer?
So
that's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying, Luka, I think it's a strategy by NBA teams.
It could be.
Let Luka get his so that nobody else, so that THJ doesn't get into the game. So that all these other guys that they've got around him don't get in a rhythm. So then in the fourth quarter, when his conditioning starts to show and he starts to wear down, he's going to try to hero roll it. And it's just not working.
We're going to see. I think what you
It's
said
Luka's
matters.
team, it's Luka's fault. Very simple.
I think. Come on now, Josh. You can't say he doesn't have any primary. At least Trey has DeAndre Hunter. He got somebody to play defense.
Mark Cuban is known for making terrible decisions as management as well. Just saying.
So we'll definitely see. That's gonna wrap our episode, guys. You have anything to say?
It's Luka's team, it's Luka's fault. Shout out to the Hawks and Coach Trae Young.
You got anything?
Like the video, subscribe to the channel as well, share the video, and leave us your takes so we can respond to you.
I think, what was it? Last Sunday is prime example why we can't let LSU win games, guys.
Oh my gosh.
They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to do it. They're new to it.